There are people in this world who stay calm in chaos. They move with purpose, speak with clarity, and never let fear control their actions. While others break down under pressure, they stay grounded. What makes them different is not luck or talent. It is discipline, it is training, and it is mindset. In today's world, becoming mentally unshakable is more valuable than ever. When uncertainty strikes, only those who are steady from within can stand tall. In this video, we will explore the 7 powerful rules shared by Shi Heng Yi, a master of Shaolin philosophy and practice. These are not just lessons from books, they come from centuries of lived experience inside one of the most disciplined traditions on earth. You will learn how to handle emotional storms, train your focus, sharpen your awareness, and develop inner strength that does not depend on the outside world. Most people think strength is about physical power or how loud someone can speak, but true strength is silent. It does not shout. It does not shake, it does not react, it watches, it understands, it acts with calm precision, and these 7 rules will show you exactly how to build that kind of strength. Stay with us until the end, because the last rule is the one most people miss, yet it is the key to making all the others work. It is something you won't hear in everyday self-help advice. Welcome to the channel where ancient wisdom meets modern life. If you are ready to rise above fear, distraction, and doubt, and become unshakable from within, make sure to subscribe. This is the first step to mastering yourself. Absolutely, here is a naturally flowing 500-word section for the intro Vero 45, based on your request. In life there are moments when everything feels uncertain, things don't go as planned, people disappoint us, the world shifts in ways we can't control, and in those moments many feel lost. They react with fear, anger, or confusion, but some people don't. They stay calm, they stay clear, they hold their ground like a mountain in a storm. This quality, this calm strength is what it means to be unshakable. To be unshakable doesn't mean being emotionless, it doesn't mean you never feel pain or fear, it means you can feel all of it and still remain steady. You don't get pulled under, you don't lose yourself, your mind stays clear, your body stays firm, your emotions rise and fall, but they don't control your actions, you stay centered. This kind of strength isn't given, it's trained, it's built, and it starts from within. For centuries, the Shaolin monks have been known for their discipline and control, not just in martial arts, but in the way they carry themselves in everyday life. Their training is about more than fighting. It's about mastering the mind, the body, and the emotions. It's about facing chaos with peace and stress with stillness. It's about training the inside, not just the outside. Shi Heng Yi, a modern Shaolin master, has taken this ancient wisdom and translated it for today's world. He teaches us that becoming unshakable is not a mystery, it's a process, a path, and on this path, there are certain principles, simple, powerful rules that guide us. These are not just ideas, they are daily practices. When you follow them, you don't just survive difficult moments, you grow through them. In a noisy world filled with distraction, confusion, and constant pressure, these rules offer something rare: clarity. They help us build habits that protect our peace, they help us respond instead of react. They remind us to return to ourselves no matter what's happening around us. The beauty of these teachings is that they don't require a special place or a perfect life. You don't need to be in a temple to start. You don't need to wait until life is calm. In fact, the best time to begin is when things feel chaotic, because that's where the training becomes real, that's when strength is built. Each of the 7 rules is rooted in Shaolin tradition, but each one speaks directly to the challenges we face in modern life. They are ancient, yes, but they are also timeless. Whether you're in a city or a quiet village, facing a personal struggle, or just trying to stay focused in a busy world, these rules apply. They speak to something universal in all of us, the desire to be steady, to be strong, and to stay grounded, no matter what comes our way, not by fighting harder, but by training smarter, not by avoiding problems, but by standing tall in the middle of them. Certainly, here's a 500-word script section for Rule 1. Face discomfort daily, written in simple, natural English with a smooth, continuous flow, no summary or conclusion at the end, just a clean handoff to the next section. Rule 1. Face discomfort daily. Most people avoid discomfort, they run from it, they wait for the perfect moment, they want things to be easy, smooth, and predictable, but life doesn't work that way. Discomfort is part of growth. In fact, it's the first step. Shi Heng Yi teaches that if you want to become unshakable, you must welcome discomfort into your daily life, not in big dramatic ways, but in small, steady steps. That means doing the things you usually resist, taking the cold shower, waking up earlier than your body wants, sitting still in silence when your mind wants noise. These are not punishments, these are practices, and each time you face one, you become stronger. Modern psychology calls this stress inoculation. It's the idea that exposing yourself to small amounts of controlled stress builds resilience. It prepares your body and mind to handle bigger challenges later on. Like a vaccine that teaches your immune system how to respond. These small moments of discomfort train your inner system to stay calm, steady, and alert. You don't need to seek pain, you just need to stop running from challenge. Start with simple things. If you always take the elevator, take the stairs. If you avoid tough conversations, have one. If you always go for comfort, choose the harder path, just once a day. Over time, this becomes a habit. You begin to realize that discomfort is not your enemy, it's your teacher. Shaolin monks train this way every day. They don't wait to feel ready. They don't depend on motivation. They build discipline by stepping into discomfort on purpose. This discipline doesn't just shape their bodies, it sharpens their minds. It teaches them to observe discomfort instead of reacting to it. And that's where the power lies, in choosing your response. When you get used to discomfort, fear starts to fade. You stop being controlled by it. You learn that most of the things you fear are just temporary sensations. Tightness, heat, tension. They pass. And once you see that they pass, they lose their power. That's when your mind starts to open. That's when confidence begins to grow. Every time you face discomfort, you prove to yourself that you can handle more than you thought. You build self-trust. You train the nervous system to stay steady, even when things feel hard. You begin to act from a place of clarity, not panic. And it all starts with tiny moments. Just one deep breath when your body wants to quit. Just one step forward when everything inside you wants to turn back. Discomfort is not there to break you. It's there to shape you. And once you learn to face it without fear, you stop shrinking from life. You meet the moment. You show up, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard, because that's where strength lives. That's where transformation begins. Let me know when you're ready for Rule 2, and I'll continue the script with the same tone and clarity. Certainly, here's a 500-word section for Rule 2, Control Your Perspective, written in simple flowing language with no summary or conclusion at the end. Rule 2, Control Your Perspective. Things happen every day. Some go your way, some don't. Someone cuts you off in traffic. You lose a job. You get unexpected news. At first glance, it feels natural to call these things good or bad. But Shi Heng Yi reminds us of something important. Events are neutral. It is your interpretation that gives them meaning. It's not the event that creates stress. It's the story you attach to it. This is where true power lives. Not in controlling everything around you, but in learning to control how you see it. When you take control of your perspective, you take control of your mind. You move from being reactive to being intentional. Modern psychology has a name for this skill. It's called cognitive reappraisal. This technique comes from cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. It teaches people to pause, notice their thoughts, and gently shift the way they interpret a situation. Instead of thinking this is a disaster, you ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? You ask, how is this shaping me? This small shift can change everything, because your emotions are tied to your thoughts. When your thinking changes, your emotional state follows. Your body calms down, your focus returns. You don't spiral, you stay grounded. Shi Heng Yi often shares the story of two people walking in the rain. One complains the whole time, wet, cold, miserable. The other smiles, breathes, and walks with peace. Same rain, same weather, different experience. Why? Because one saw it as suffering. The other saw it as a chance to practice presence. That is the power of perspective. In life, you cannot avoid storms, but you can choose how to walk through them. When something difficult happens, you can freeze and react, or you can pause and reframe. Ask yourself, is there another way to look at this? Not to lie to yourself. Not to pretend things are perfect, but to stay in control of your inner world. This is not about false positivity, it's about awareness. You're not forcing yourself to feel good. You're training yourself to see clearly, to zoom out, to find space between the event and your reaction. In that space is where wisdom grows. It's where the untrained mind says, this is terrible, and the trained mind says, let me observe this. When you live this way, the world stops shaking you. People's opinions lose their weight. Plans falling apart don't throw you into panic. You become flexible in thought, calm in action. And this flexibility is not weakness, it's mental strength, the ability to bend without breaking, to see with clarity, not confusion. By practicing this daily, you build a habit of reflection over reaction. You develop a calm filter through which life moves. You respond with depth instead of emotion. You act from wisdom, not impulse. And each time you do, your perspective becomes your power. Let me know when you're ready for Rule 3, and I'll continue with the same tone and clarity. Certainly. Here is the 500-word script section for Rule 3. Root your body in practice, with natural flow, simple vocabulary, and no summary or conclusion at the end. Rule 3. Root your body in practice. The mind is not separate from the body. What you do with your body shapes how you think, how you feel, and how you respond. This is a truth deeply understood in Shaolin practice. Shi Heng Yi teaches that mental strength is not just a matter of thoughts, it is something trained through the body, through movement, stillness and breath. When your body is rooted, your mind becomes steady. When your breath is calm, your emotions settle. When your posture is upright, your focus sharpens. These are not just ideas, they are experiences. You can feel it. The way you sit, the way you stand, the way you move, all of it sends a message to your brain. That message can say, I'm safe, or it can say, I'm in danger. The body speaks, and the mind listens. Shaolin monks begin every day with physical routines, not to build muscle or show power, but to prepare the mind. They practice slow, intentional movements. They focus on the breath. They pay attention to their stance. The feet are firm, the spine is straight, the hands are relaxed but alert. This kind of posture is not just for training, it is a way of being. You don't need to live in a temple to do this. You can start where you are. The moment you feel overwhelmed, bring your attention to your body. Are your shoulders tight? Are you breathing shallow? Are you hunched over? Simply noticing these things gives you the power to shift. Straighten your spine, drop your shoulders, breathe in, slowly and deeply, exhale with control. This simple act brings you back to the present. It creates space between you and the emotion. It grounds you. In Shaolin teaching they say the body is the gateway to the mind. If the body is restless, the mind becomes scattered. But if the body is calm, the mind follows. This is why training includes not just motion, but also stillness. Standing still in one place, rooted like a tree, teaches discipline. It teaches patience. It teaches how to hold your ground when everything else is moving. These small physical practices are not just habits. They are rituals. They build presence. They remind you that you are here, now, in this moment, not trapped in the past, not racing into the future, just here, with your breath, your body, your awareness. Even the simple act of walking can become a practice. Walk slowly, feel each step, let your breath match your pace. This brings your attention out of the racing mind and into the grounded body. It builds stability from the inside out. By anchoring your mind through the body, you create a kind of inner stillness that doesn't depend on outside peace. Even when life moves fast, even when pressure rises, you remain centered. And this centering becomes your power, not through force, but through presence. Let me know when you're ready to continue with Rule 4. Certainly. Here's the 500-word section for Rule 4. Train your willpower daily, written with smooth natural flow and no summary or conclusion at the end. Rule 4. Train your willpower daily. Every day you are faced with small choices. Get up now or hit snooze. Speak with patience or react with anger. Finish the task or leave it for later. These choices may seem minor, but they shape who you become. Each moment is a chance to train your willpower. Each small act of self-control becomes a building block for mental strength. Shi Heng Yi teaches that willpower is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it weakens. If you train it daily, it grows. And like any muscle, you don't need to lift the heaviest weight on day one. You start small, you build consistency, you repeat. Willpower isn't about forcing yourself to suffer. It's about learning to act with discipline, even when you don't feel like it. It's choosing what's right over what's easy. It's doing what must be done, even when comfort whispers that you can skip it. Science backs this up. Psychologists have studied willpower for decades. They found that small, repeated acts of self-control build mental endurance. This is how habits form. This is how grit develops. Grit isn't talent, it's persistence. It's showing up again and again, even when progress feels slow. You don't need grand acts to build grit. Start by finishing what you start. If you begin a workout, complete it. If you say you'll meditate for 5 minutes, sit through the full 5. If you're in a difficult conversation, stay present instead of shutting down. These are simple actions, but they train something deeper, the part of you that doesn't quit when it gets uncomfortable. Shaolin practice includes these lessons. Monks wake up before sunrise. They repeat movements hundreds of times. They sit in silence even when their legs ache. Not because they enjoy the discomfort, but because it teaches control. It teaches how to hold steady when the mind wants to give up. It teaches how to stay with the process, no matter how long it takes. This training isn't about perfection, it's about intention. When you decide to do something hard on purpose, you send a signal to your brain. You say, I can choose my path. I'm not controlled by habit or mood. That signal grows stronger with practice. Over time, this becomes part of your identity. You become the kind of person who follows through, and this carries into every area of life. When you build willpower in small things, you're more prepared when big challenges arrive. You've trained your response. You've practiced staying calm. You've built the ability to delay comfort for something greater. And that kind of discipline becomes freedom. You are no longer pushed around by impulses. You don't wait for motivation. You act with purpose. You choose your actions, even when emotions are loud. Even when the mind says stop, the deeper part of you keeps going. That part is built through daily practice, through the quiet decision to stay on the path, even when it's hard. Let me know when you're ready for Rule 5 and I'll continue. Absolutely. Here's the 500-word section for Rule 5. Build emotional flexibility, written in simple, natural language, with a calm, continuous flow and no conclusion or summary at the end. Rule 5. Build emotional flexibility. Emotions rise and fall like waves. Sometimes they come soft and gentle. Other times, they hit hard and fast. Anger, sadness, fear, frustration. These feelings are part of being human. You can't stop them from showing up, but you can choose how to meet them. Shi Heng Yi teaches that strength is not about shutting down your emotions. It's about not being ruled by them. It's about watching them with awareness. Like a monk standing still in the middle of a storm, you learn to feel deeply without being pulled away. This is called emotional flexibility. It means giving yourself permission to feel, but also giving yourself space to choose your response. You can feel fear without running. You can feel anger without exploding. You can feel sadness without drowning in it. The emotion moves through you, but it does not control you. This idea connects deeply with emotional intelligence, a skill that psychologists have studied for years. Emotional intelligence is the ability to notice your feelings, understand them and respond wisely. People with high emotional intelligence don't avoid discomfort. They face it, they name it, and they manage it with clarity. You can begin building this skill by simply pausing. When a strong emotion shows up, stop for a moment, breathe, ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Not to judge it, not to push it away, just to notice. Naming the feeling gives it shape. It brings the unconscious into the light. From there you have a choice. Instead of reacting on impulse, you respond with awareness. Instead of being swept away, you take a step back. You observe the emotion like watching a cloud pass in the sky. You know it won't last. You know it's just energy moving through. And that shift from identification to observation changes everything. In Shaolin tradition, this is part of daily training. A monk doesn't just train the body, he trains the heart. When pain or frustration arises during practice, he doesn't push it down. He notices it. He breathes through it. He keeps going. Over time, this builds a deep calm, a quiet strength, a mind that stays clear even when the heart feels heavy. You don't need to wait for a peaceful moment to practice this. In fact, the best time to train emotional flexibility is when emotions are loud. The next time someone says something that triggers you, pause, feel it. Don't react. Just watch. This is where growth happens. In the pause, in the breath, in the choice to stay steady. When you do this often, something begins to shift inside. You stop fearing emotions. You stop avoiding conflict. You stop being at war with yourself. You become more honest, more calm, more open. Emotions lose their grip. You move with more ease. You speak with more clarity. You begin to trust yourself, even in the middle of difficult moments. Let me know when you're ready for Rule 6 and I'll continue the script. Certainly. Here's the 500-word section for Rule 6. Find your center in stillness, written with natural flow, simple vocabulary, and no summary or conclusion at the end. Rule 6. Find your center in stillness. In a world that moves fast, stillness becomes rare. Noise fills every corner. Notifications, deadlines, conversations, all pulling your attention in different directions. But beneath the surface of all that motion, there is something deeper, a quiet space, a center. And that's where your strength lives. Shi Heng Yi teaches that true calm is not found by escaping the world. It's found by returning to your center, even in the middle of chaos. This center is not something you chase. It's something you uncover, and you find it through stillness. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means being fully present. It means letting the noise fade so you can hear what's underneath. In Shaolin practice, stillness is just as important as movement. Monks spend hours in silence, not to avoid life, but to meet it more clearly. They sit, they breathe, and they watch the mind settle. Modern science now confirms what ancient masters have always known. Practices like breathwork and meditation change the brain. They lower stress, they increase focus, they help regulate emotion. But even more than that, they remind you who you are when the noise fades. You don't need to sit for hours. Just a few quiet minutes can make a difference. Sit down, close your eyes, bring your attention to your breath, feel the air move in and out. Notice the rhythm. If your thoughts wander, gently come back. That's not failure, that's practice. Over time, this simple act becomes a reset, a way to return to your center again and again. You may start the day with stillness, or take a quiet moment before a difficult task, or pause before speaking, just to feel your breath. These moments may be small, but their impact is deep. Stillness teaches you to respond, not react. It slows the mind. It softens the heart. It clears the space between stimulus and action. You become less driven by habit, and more guided by awareness. You begin to notice the gap between what happens and how you feel, and in that gap you find freedom. Shaolin calmness is not passive. It is alert. It is awake. In stillness, you don't drift. You observe. You're fully present, aware of your body, your breath, your surroundings. You don't fight your thoughts, but you don't follow them either. You watch them pass, like clouds in the sky. This kind of practice builds inner silence, and in that silence, clarity grows. You stop chasing answers outside yourself. You begin to listen within.
You notice the patterns of your mind. You hear the quiet voice of intuition. You start to live with more intention, less reaction. When you return to stillness often, it becomes familiar. It becomes your anchor. No matter what's happening outside, you know how to come back. Back to your breath. Back to your body. Back to the calm that never leaves. That's where your center lives. And that's where real peace begins. Let me know when you're ready for Rule 7, and I'll continue. Certainly. Here's the 500-word section for Rule 7. Serve and connect beyond self. Written in natural English, with smooth flow, simple vocabulary, and no conclusion or summary. Rule 7. Serve and connect beyond self. There is a kind of strength that doesn't come from pushing harder or standing alone. It comes from reaching out, from showing up for others, from offering your time, your care, your presence, not because you have to, but because you choose to. Shi Heng Yi teaches that real power often grows when we shift focus away from ourselves and begin to serve something greater. In Shaolin tradition, the path of self-mastery is not a lonely one. It's deeply connected to community. Monks don't train only for personal gain. They train so they can be of use, so they can share peace, wisdom, and presence with the world around them. This is strength through service, not loud, not showy, but steady and deep. Psychology agrees. Studies in resilience and human performance show that helping others builds emotional strength. When you give, something shifts inside. You begin to see beyond your own pain. You stop spinning in circles of self-doubt. You feel part of something bigger. That connection becomes a source of energy. Serving others doesn't mean grand gestures. It can be simple. Listen to someone without rushing to speak. Offer encouragement when someone's struggling. Help with no need for reward. These acts may seem small, but they create ripples, and they remind you that you matter, not just because of what you do, but because of how you show up. When you serve, you grow. You build compassion. You build patience. You learn to step out of your own mind and meet someone else where they are. That takes emotional strength. That takes maturity. That kind of giving becomes a mirror. It reflects your own values back to you. It reminds you of the person you're trying to become. This rule also helps during hard times. When you're struggling, your mind wants to close in. It focuses on what's wrong, what's missing, what hurts. But reaching out to help someone, even in a small way, breaks that pattern. It pulls your awareness outward. It gives you purpose, even when life feels uncertain. Shi Heng Yi often speaks of balance between self-discipline and compassion. One without the other creates imbalance. Discipline without compassion can become rigid. Compassion without discipline can become scattered. But together, they create wholeness, a grounded strength that can hold others without losing itself. When you serve others, you also connect. You build bonds that support you in return. You feel less alone. You see your struggles reflected in other people's eyes, and that shared humanity builds empathy. It softens judgment. It creates space for healing, not just for others, but for yourself too. This is how resilience grows, not by building walls, but by building bridges. Not by shutting down, but by opening up. Serving doesn't weaken you. It strengthens your spirit. It reminds you that you still have something to offer, that even in difficulty, you can bring light. And when you move through life with that mindset, with eyes open, heart steady, and hands ready to help, you become a source of calm in a chaotic world. That's not just noble, that's powerful. Let me know if you'd like a conclusion section next, or want the full script compiled. Certainly. Here's a calm and clear conclusion that fits the tone of the video, lasting around 30 seconds. Conclusion. Last 30s. Let's quickly recap the 7 rules to becoming unshakable. Face discomfort daily. Control your perspective. Root your body in practice. Train your willpower daily. Build emotional flexibility. Find your center in stillness. Serve and connect beyond self. Choose just one of these rules, and try it today. Start small. Stay consistent. The change begins within. If you want more Shaolin wisdom like this, hit subscribe. And if this video helped you, please like it and share it with someone who needs it. Let me know if you'd like the entire script compiled into one full video draft, or edited for timing.